Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your Evolved Shorty, and today we're going to take a look at the Sensational She-Hulk. It's one that's been on my radar for a little bit. I've been looking forward to it because I actually quite enjoyed the last She-Hulk. Now I have to put it on a pull list, and at a certain point I think I drifted away from it because I own a comic book still, guys. I've got a lot of stuff to read. Unless it's like genuinely 100% in my wheelhouse or I'm absolutely committed to it, it's very easy for me to bounce off stuff, even stuff that I quite like at the time. But I like the concept, I liked how it started, and I'm willing to give anything a shot with the same character. I think Jen Walters is an interesting character, and it kind of helps us as Rainbow Rowell, because I've been reading some of their stuff already at the moment. I mean, literally on my way to work this morning, I'm listening to the third of their Turfy Wizard trilogy Mickey take thingy, which is fantastic. I can't remember the name of the actual trilogy for it, but if I say that, I'm sure anyone knows what I'm talking about will know exactly what I'm talking about. It is fantastic. It's a whole bunch of fun, and the third book is going really, really well. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a look at this, 100%, 100%. But I did have a couple of issues starting with the artwork, because it is fantastic. It's that Marvel style, which we can talk about until the cows come home, but the conversation isn't really going to change much. It's a very, very good example of it, but it also has in it one of the little bad artist habits that I see and I get a little bit frustrated with, because it's a comic book which doesn't really have much in the way of huge action sequences. This is not a story about that, but it does have a fight sequence, and in the middle of all the action, there are multiple panels within the fight scene where there's absolutely no way of telling where the story's taking part. It just becomes a slightly off-white void. And it's not like it's the end of the world. It's not like we didn't know where the fight was taking place because it's been explained in story. But if you take those panels on their own, it could literally be anything happening to anyone and anywhere. And it just feels like there's other things I know which are more important, and as long as the fight looks good, I shouldn't really get too worried about this one. But yeah, there's like... it's just a little thing that bugs me, and it always will, I'm afraid. But what the artist, named Andre Genelet, and I apologise if I mispronounced that one, does really well is human interaction and showing non-verbal communication. One of my big go-to things in a moment I'm looking at really good artwork, specifically when the story is about relationships, because that's what it is at its heart. Yes, Jen Walters is a Hulk and a lawyer, and the lawyer thing, you need to build up relationships, you need to be able to talk to people and see what they are living through, and you need to basically look at connections. And she has an awful lot of connections in her own life. She is a complicated character with a lot of history. She has been in relationships, close personal relationships with a lot of people. She has been friends and enemies with heroes and villains, and these people are involved in other relationships with people she has relationships with. It is a very complicated life, like it is for everyone. And that is what I like about this story. It feels very human. And again, going back to Rainbow Rowell's take on the Turfy Wizard thing, the fact that they've managed to make this huge over-the-top apocalyptic world-ending kind of story about just some people engaged in relationships and what the world means to them through the lens of those relationships, I knew I was going to enjoy this. And I did, because that's exactly what they do, and it works phenomenally. Because Jen is in a relationship with, I want to say Jack of Spades. I could be wrong if I've misremembered that one. It's something that started in the last She-Hulk run, and I'm glad it's been carried on with this, because it was a cool little idea. And in this one, we're getting to find out more about the fact that her previous relationships haven't been this in-depth. She has had relationships, but this is like living together and being a huge part of each other's life. And there are superhero issues with that. Jack, basically, as his power, he absorbs, seemingly uncontrollably, power and energy and radiation. And Jennifer Walters has been absolutely full of gamma radiations, causes some problems for them to be intimate with each other, even to just kissing or holding hands. There's problems with that. So they figure out like a superhero reason to get around it, which is probably not that important, but it happens. So that means we just actually have the relationship as the focus here. We have how she lives with this person in their lives. And it is important that they are living together in a committed, close relationship. Because she's seeing, as a result of her life, including a superhero fight club where people turn up with their partners, and as a lawyer with two superpowered deviants like that for the Eternals kind of pantheon, who are having trouble because of their closeness, she is basically seeing other examples of closeness and the problems it causes in other people's relationships, and wondering if maybe she has gotten too much into this thing. Now, this is a very human trait to do. What she's doing is she's externalizing her problem. Instead of looking to within and seeing if it's something that she is happy with, if sacrifices are worthwhile, if they're not, if there's things she needs to change, she is looking for external excuses to say, well, this is just going to go wrong. This is a very human thing, and it is very easy for a lot of people to do this kind of thing, and seeing this presented on somebody like the Sensational She-Hulk is really good writing. It works effectively because it makes us all look at the kind of problems we deal with and how we deal with them. It is fantastic. It is not a big over-the-top action thing, so the artist doing that little thing that annoys me doesn't bother me too much in the end. What it comes down to is the writing and the characters, and everything about this actually works really fantastically. If this is what you want, this is a very, very good example of how to do it well. That's it for me today. I do have a couple more things to read and review, so keep an eye out, and I'll be back later on. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.